Hello everybody, this is Paul here and I am just checking in really. Don't worry, our Middle Earth coverage where we're going through the entire Lord of the Rings will continue, our journey through Middle Earth, but I've got another project that is ongoing at the moment, or is just about to start, and that is my Greater Demon project. And I'm going for 4 Greater Demons to go with Be'lakor in his own whatever is in his own battle tome. It's not a battle tome, but in the latest Be'lakor book. But I'm going for looks rather than sort of efficiency on the table, and this is for my Age of Sigmar army. So I've got one that is already painted here, so this is my Lord of Change here, and I'm going for a similar sort of look. We're going to have some basing which is desert themed, but I'm going to revisit this base and add some more detail to it. Not over the top, it'll still be a muted sort of yellowish theme, but what it will do is offset the colours on the models. So this is my first Greater Demon, so he's done, so that's a good start, but there's very little else of the project done. So that's him, and he's painted to a pretty good level actually. I mean, it's a bit tricky to see on this camera, but yeah, I'm quite pleased with him. So I'm going to go for the same. They're all going to be pretty unique, but I'm going to go for the same type of dark hint of blue steel armor on all of them, and that will tie them together along with the basing. But then there's obviously the troops, the battle line that I need to do, and I'm very well off at the moment with my horrors here. So I've got loads of pink horrors, got blue horrors, got brimstones because I've got a Tzeentch army. So these guys, you know, hopefully I'll get a bit of time to do some work. But what I don't have, which I need, because I need plague bearers and blood letters. So I have been playing around with building some blood letters that Wayne has given to me. I think these are off some sort of chariot sprue, so I'm building these up, and they'll probably end up being my summoning pool, but I will need to buy some blood letters. And the whole point of this is I'm going to try to do this and maybe fail to get to the Dorset Invitational that is run by Paul Buckler, and I'm going to try and get to that point with this army, but there's an awful lot to do, as you'll see. So the main project for the moment is a certain Be'lakor, so obviously the leader of my army. So this is going to be the starting point of the rest of the army, and then I'll need to do plague bearers, I'll need to do blood letters, I'll need to do a great unclean one, and a bloodthirster is the idea. Now with Be'lakor, it's going to be, I'm going to try and do a fairly quick paint job, but try to make it decent quality. So I can try and use some contrast paints and that sort of thing, but then do some high quality dry brushing as well, and then add some detail at the end. So in terms of skin, I'm going to put a turquoise sort of first shadow on there, and then hopefully try and use a complementary colour of some blues to highlight up, so that the turquoise will then end up being the shadows, and we'll see how that goes. It might be a complete failure and might have to change. But so what I'm going to be doing next is basically smothering him in this pterodon turquoise, and as you can see, I've already started to do this. Just spotted a bit I've missed on the leg and the tail, and it actually looks really nice already, but I will then be highlighting up, and he's already wobbling on this blue tack that I've got on the bottom here. So that's going to be my starting point. I've also put some basic, I was thinking about doing some crazy things with bark, etc., but I actually really like his base, so I'll put some basic material on here that's just drying at the moment. I'll probably add a few little extra bits and bobs, but it'll be the same sort of desert themed base, which will hopefully then set off really nicely against quite a dark model. Oh, the other thing as well was you'll probably notice that there's no, on the model itself there's chains all over the place, but I've actually chopped all those off because there was something about the model that I didn't like, and it was the sort of slight thing that GW have about over designing their miniatures. I don't like all the chains and things and skulls hanging off it, so much prefer the wings plainer, because I think they're amazing wings, so I'm going to go with that. Makes it a little bit easier to paint as well, which will be quite nice. So haven't put the chains on. So that's where I am at the moment. I haven't even bought a Great Unclean one or a Bloodthirsty yet, so that will be ordered soon. And we'll just see how we go and how we get there, and I'm going to use this as a bit of a vlog about how I'm getting on, and we'll see how we go, and you can see. And if you've got any advice or you think I'm doing something really stupid, let me know, because it's obviously quite a short period of time. We're talking about the end of August, so I think it's 25th, 26th of August when this is happening, so yeah, that's not very long, so fingers crossed. Right, so I'm going to get on with slapping some contrast paint on, which is always good fun because it goes on really nicely. So you're going to see that in super speed time. Bye bye. Right, okay, so here we are. I've smothered him in the Pterodon turquoise, so he's looking particularly awful at the moment, but I really like the colour of this, but whether it's actually going to be dark enough for what I want, I'm not sure. So what we're going to do now, that's the back of him. I mean, I will need to just go round and just check for bits that I've missed. I also think I'm going to have to glue him to this base. The blue tack is just not working, but I just want to do a little experiment with, I'm going to get some Caspian blue from scale 75 and just very gently do a little dry brush on, I think, his leg, just to see whether that actually works. So let's get a bit of this and see what that looks like. I've got a feeling it might look absolutely awful, so let's get a little bit of that blue, and then we're going to call it a night at that point. Right, now I don't just put too much moisture on there, just want a tiny bit. What I don't want in it is any streaking with this. So, oh, helps if you drop it and then, right, so I'm just going to go onto his knee here. I know what's going to happen, I'm going to have taken so much off that I can't actually, okay, starting to get there now. Let's start buffing. Here's a quadricep as well. Get a few of the spines. See, the problem is I think he's going to end up looking really bright. Is that a bad thing? Master of Shadow looking really sort of bright and zinchy. Yeah, I think this might actually look alright with those greeny turquoisey shadows. Just got to be careful now I don't get rid of all the work I've just done. But that is, don't know how easy it's to see on the camera, but that's looking alright. Doing quite a heavy dry brush on it. I'm using these Artist Opus brushes, and they're amazing. They're so soft, and you don't get this sort of streak. If you're careful, you don't get the streak marks with just like a cheaper dry brush. Just seeing things you don't want to see, just seeing a bit of sort of sprue cuts, but hopefully that will blend with his scales and stuff. Okay, so it's just going to be a bit tricky to get in some of this, but I've got some smaller ones. Now, how is that looking? Yeah, I think we can work with that and then we can gradually brighten it up further. Might need a bit of a wash at the end before a final highlight, but I think that's looking alright. Right, so tomorrow we'll do that basically all over his skin and wings and everywhere else. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to glue this model down onto here. Okay, how's that look on the foot? Okay. Yeah. and at the end we'll do a highlight after I've done that. So the intention will be then to go lighter with bearing blue, which is a lighter blue again. Go on then, let's put, while we're here, let's put a little bit of that on, just over the bit we've just done. So now it needs to be very gentle with this. Again, quite a nice transition there. Just going to go for the top elements. Okay, so don't know how well you can see it, but we are making some progress there. He's going to be quite light, but I think he'll look pretty cool. I think that's going to look good on the wings. I can always then darken things down again a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, I will carry on with this, and I think I'll call it a night there. Bye bye. So here we are. This is where I've now got to, so a little bit of progress since I showed you this just now. So I have gone over the whole thing with a fairly heavy Caspian blue. Get this in shot. Caspian blue. So that's where I've gone into all the different elements. So if you look on the wings, that's just got a Caspian blue, and you can see the beautiful detail of this model that just comes out so easily just for a dry brush. I've gone to a smaller dry brush this time, so it made me get into the different areas. You can see where we started off down here. It's probably about the worst bit I've done, but the sort of abs and pecs and stuff have come out really well, as has his Chaos Star there, and that's with the addition of some bearing blue there. So that's sort of really brought that up. I'm thinking of maybe just putting a touch of white in there and just getting some of the real tops of those details. But I'm going to go in now, and I've done the legs and I've done the body and the face, which you can see that his expression's really coming out. So I'm just now, if we look over the top, I've done the wings just along this wing and this wing, so they're starting to really stand out now, and you're getting some good transition between the darker areas in between and the areas at the top there. I'm going to go over the rest of the model. I've done down the spines here, that sort of thing, at the tops of the bat arms, I suppose you'd call them, the tops of the spines. So I'm going to finish off the wings now and finish off, that's the main thing I need to do that's left. So I'm going to get on with that. So you're going to see that at super speed. So here we are. I've put the bearing blue on. I've dry brushed that in and then mixed a little bit of white in it as a final approach. So we've got the whole thing, the whole of the skin done now, and I am super chuffed with that. That's come out really nicely. I've turned the sort of major light I've got off so that you can perhaps see the contrast a little bit better, and that has come out really nicely. I've got really good contrast across all the different elements. The wings look fantastic, and that is, there's no highlighting gone in there at all. That is all dry brush, and those, you know, using a soft dry brush, there's a couple of little smooshes here and there, but with the whole thing then you don't notice them at all. So I'm really chuffed with how that's come out. I'm not going to lie, I'm going for a quick job here because look at that tail, that's come out really nicely. I'm so chuffed with that, and that's not really skill on my behalf. That's just the quality of the model and the brushes, and you know, just taking my time and not being too aggressive with it. And yeah, that's going to look really cool on the table. And you know, it's that contrast on things like wings that really stand out. So, and he is actually quite dark. He looks quite bright in the picture, but when you actually will see him on the table, he's quite dark, so it actually works perfectly. But the brighter bits then will show up and really give that definition to him. So good start. Lots to do now. So that's the main bit done, the skin. But actually I think some of the other bits, the cloth and the armour and things like that, and need to do something with his horns and the sword there. I think they're all the bits that are going to take longer, but great start, and looking forward to the next bit. And I've just ordered my Bloodthirster and my Great Unclean one, so gonna have to try and work out what the best build for those is. It's not a build that you would do in a Nurgle or a Khorne army. It's what will work best independently of the rest of their armies. So I'm going to have a look through some war scrolls, but I'll probably just come down to what looks the coolest, to be honest, which build looks the coolest. But there you go. So I think Be'lakor is looking great. That's it. Bye bye.